Before we move on, I wanted to take a little side jaunt and talk about where we get dinosaurs. In the previous lecture, I already mentioned a few places around the globe where dinosaurs were found in the early studies, but let's look at it over, say, the past 200 years. I want you to think about how this has changed, how it's moved and evolved over time. So this next slide here, it's already dated, obviously. This is the rate of discovery of new dinosaur species from 1820s, when, as you saw before, we first started recognizing and describing dinosaurs, to 1990, and clearly we've had a couple of decades pass since then as well, several decades. But if you look at that, the vertical axis, the y-axis, is cumulative new species, so additive new species. And notice there's a steady upward trajectory as time goes by. We are still finding and describing new dinosaurs all the time. And even though this is dated, you've probably noticed in your various news feeds, wherever you get your news, Reddit, YouTube, wherever, Facebook, God forbid, a newspaper, TV, something like that. Every once in a while, you see the description of a new dinosaur, and there's usually some picture to it, etc. It literally gives example to the idea that we haven't described them all. So dinosaur science is not over by any means. We are still finding dinosaurs in a big way. So let's look at these maps first. So this is dinosaur discoveries from the 1820s to 1850, and notice we are talking Europe here. So England, France, Germany, Belgium, etc. That's where dinosaur studies were. That's where modern science began. So it kind of makes sense. If you go from 1850 to 1900, notice what's happened is it's expanded all over Europe, but then we have a couple of examples in Africa, Queensland, Australia, India, basically wherever the extreme South America here, wherever the British Empire extended, as well as the United States and Canada. Go a little bit farther, 1900s to 1950s, and you start getting, besides the European and North American studies, we start getting these colonialist studies. So there's the Tendaguru, the German studies, some of these British things in South Africa and in North Africa, as well as the Central Asiatic expeditions. We're getting Russia in here, Kazakhstan. The world is opening up. And then if you go from 1950 to 2000, notice it's everywhere. We're talking North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and look at the very bottom here, even Antarctica, found in one place in Queensland or in Seymour Island, Antarctica. And that's through 2000. If you'd flash forward another 20 years, we're finding them again on all of the different continents. So dinosaurs clearly were a global group when they lived. They are a global group today, crossing all kinds of political and geopolitical environments. You have political societies vastly different from our own, communist groups, authoritarian groups, etc. And dinosaurs are fascinating to all, and they're found everywhere.